It is time once again for the Patreon Q&A.
Yes, you've got questions and we've got answers to give you.
If you would like to ask us questions, make sure that you go subscribe to our Patreon at Buddy Chicken tier or higher. And then you can ask us all kinds of burning questions that you have.
For those of you who already do, thank you for your continued support. First question, hey guys, longtime fan of the channel. That's not a question. Oh, there's more. I found your content early on in my enlistment back when you first started doing New Vegas videos. I found your dynamic hilarious and relatable, and it helped keep me going all throughout my time in the military. Thank you!
You're welcome.
Still not a question. There's a question. What is your opinion on college/higher education? My opinion is generally positive. It's always more of a difficult question to answer in America because we don't have free college of any sort. I mean, some states have started trying to do some programs, but for the most part, once you graduate high school, you're immediately thrown into the real world and you have to make some really big decisions really fast, including whether or not to go to college and take out massive amounts of debt that you'll have to pay off for the rest of your life. So it's not an easy question.
I think that continuing your education or continuing to learn more is never a bad thing. It just depends on what specifically you want to do and whether that's like going to community college, because from what I can tell, most of the time community college is going to be just fine. You're still going to get a good education. It's just going to cost less, or whether that's like going to an actual university or something.
Yeah, I would say unless you've already got a game plan for what you want to do for the rest of your life, like you want to go into a specific trade or a specific specialty type of job, then yeah, going for a year or two of community college is probably the best choice you can make. If you go there and you realize it's not for you, you haven't taken out too substantial a huge debt or anything.
Yeah, especially if you're just getting your gen eds done, then yeah, going to a community college is probably a good idea, but yeah.
Yeah. It's also really beneficial to go to a community college if you get out of high school, because there are a lot of people, myself included, who didn't really leave their local community until they got out of high school and went to college. That's when you finally leave your local bubble and meet people from different walks of life, and they can make you a better person by teaching you that the world is maybe a bigger and better place than you were led to believe as you were growing up.
That's a lie. The world is a terrible place. It's horrible.
Well, there was a lot of homophobia in my group when I was growing up. This was back in like the early 2000s, and once you meet different types of people, you realize some of the things you've been taught are a lie, and that's how it was for me. So I definitely benefited from that in a lot of different ways, and eventually I did go on to continue my education. But you also run the risk of getting a degree in something you don't actually use. Like, I've got a bachelor's degree in allied health science. It cost me a lot of money, and now I'm doing funny haha YouTube videos, so that was kind of a massive expense that I shouldn't have taken out. I would have been in a much better situation if I had maybe purchased a house with that money instead, but...
Did you ever try to get a job with your degree?
I did, but the degree I got wasn't as useful as I thought it was going to be. It was basically a degree to get another degree. Like, it's a stepping stone for getting a master's degree. So... yeah, I can't like become a nurse with it because I didn't go to nursing school or anything. It's like, it's just a stepping stone degree, so it wasn't even that useful.
Isn't it in, what is it in? Isn't it in
allied health science? I'm sure there are some kind of jobs I could have, but at this point it's been like a decade past.
I mean, you still have it though.
I do still have it. I don't think it goes bad.
Didn't your dad work in healthcare?
He's more on the finance side of things.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, college is good. I wish it were cheaper, and I wish you weren't immediately thrust into massive amounts of debt if you wanted to pursue higher education if you lived in America. But what are you gonna do?
Higher education is great. The cost of books is absolutely fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's going into the minutiae and the small details. Yeah, the cost of
the cost of basically every. So I think it's a good idea to get more education, but the cost of everything around college is so absurdly high.
Yeah,
that it just absolutely boggles the mind. Slight side tangent, the college that I went to right after I got out of the military, because I got out of the military and then I went to college like...
Using the Pell Grant that you got.
I went using the GI Bill. The Pell Grant's just that is a different thing.
Oh, that's sorry.
Yeah, Pell Grant is a different thing. I went to college with the GI Bill. When I first was applying and going to this college, they were like, "Oh, well, because you're a freshman, that means you have to live in the dorms for the first year." And I was just like, "No, but you have to. You have to live in the dorms because you're a freshman." I'm 23 years old. No. But you're a freshman, so you have to live in the dorms. Okay, can I keep my guns in the dorm room? No. Then I'm not living in the dorms. But it says that you have to do that. Do you want me to have a bunch of guns and be supplying everyone under the age of 21 with as much alcohol as humanly possible? No? Then I'm not living in the dorms.
Yep, fair enough. I went to college for years and years, but I never stayed at the dorms. I never lived on campus because that's almost, back then it was pricier than actually attending college. Staying at the dorms was really expensive.
Yeah.
It was just cheaper for me to commute. But you're right, the books were always a scam. I remember they'd give us a list of books we needed to get, and I would always try to cheat and buy the previous edition books, and it doesn't always work, especially for math classes, because they change the equations on you and try to screw you over. But like that was a racket back then, and then I lived through the racket getting worse as they made you buy online courses. You had to buy a code so you could do your homework online. It was a one-time use code, so you couldn't resell it, and it cost $200 a semester.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gotten worse since then.
The two opposite ends of the spectrum on this for me were I bought a math textbook for $700.
Yikes.
And when I showed up for the first day of class, they told me that they had sold me the previous edition, so I couldn't use it. So I went back to the bookstore. This is literally within a 24-hour period. I bought the book. Within 24 hours, I went back to the bookstore and said, "You sold me the wrong edition. I need the current edition of my textbook." And they said, "We can't buy it back." Why? Well, because it's the old edition, so it's not good anymore. You sold me the old edition. Give me the new textbook. Well, no. All sales on books are final. I shot it with a .44 Magnum. It was the most expensive target I've ever shot at.
Jesus. $700 book target.
Yep. And then I had to buy another $700 textbook. The other opposite end of the spectrum is I took a I forget what the class was on. I think it was a crime in literature class, and the professor was basically like, "Yeah, but textbooks are incredibly expensive, and because we're going to be reading a wide variety of stuff, I'm just going to give you PDFs of all of the books for the course, or I'm going to give you printouts if it's just like a short story." So instead of having to, I had to buy one book for that course.
Nice.
That was it. Everything else was, he was just like, "Here you go. Here, just take this."
Yeah, that's why I hardly ever bought books until the first day of class, because sometimes they'll say, "Hey, this is on the syllabus. This is going to buy these 5 books. Don't bother. Just buy like this one, and the rest are optional." To bring this all around and wrap it up nicely, college is great. We need to work to make it better in America. It sucked when we went through, and I'm sure it's not gotten better.
It depends on what I'm sure it depends on what university you go to as well.
I'm sure they are different levels of scummy. That's true.
Yeah. What musical instruments do you enjoy hearing the least?
Bells. You don't like bells?
I don't like bells in music very much. I just feel like they're kind of an unnecessary addition. I guess really the only instrument that I don't want to say like kazoos, because like I don't dislike kazoos. It's just like if you
I don't want to hear an entire song on a kazoo.
If you were to just add a kazoo to like music that it doesn't belong in, that's dumb. But like I don't dislike kazoos. I guess this is kind of a whack answer, but like vocals.
Oh yeah.
I generally don't want to listen to music with vocals
Fair
in
enough,
it.
yeah.
Obviously there are songs I like with vocals in them, but a lot of the time I don't want to listen to music that has singing in it. Oh, the completely weird like side tangent to that. There is a specific instrument that I can never remember the name of every single time, and it's this instrument that looks kind of like a piano, and it's used in a lot of like Baroque classical pieces. I can never remember the name of the instrument.
Pipe organ?
No. It's a string instrument, but it looks kind of like a piano. And whenever I try to think of it, my brain goes, marimba! It's a marimba! It's a marimba! And it's like, it's not a fucking marimba.
It's not a marimba, it's a theremin, duh.
It's not, well, a theremin doesn't look like a piano. It's definitely not a celesta. Harpsichord, that's it.
Harpsichord.
And I promise you, I'm gonna forget. In like 10 minutes, I'm gonna forget that it's called a harpsichord. But like every single time I hear it in something, I'm like, oh, that's a marimba. And I know it isn't. I know damn well it isn't a marimba.
I don't really have any musical instruments I don't like. Pretty easygoing, I'd say. Is there something, car, gun, etc., which you would prefer to own a model of rather than the real thing? For example, I have no interest in owning or using a Desert Eagle, but I bought a scale model to fiddle around with anyway.
Why wouldn't you want to own a Desert Eagle? Other than the fact that they're unreliable and they're gigantic and prohibitively expensive and they shoot an incredibly expensive bullet. Why wouldn't you want to own one? That sounds like a great...
There could be a number of reasons. Because my brother would be jealous. Probably something that's way too big to fit in my house. Like, you could have a model of a train or an airplane, but you can't have the real thing.
Like, if I could get an airsoft G11, that would be pretty cool. Just because, like, if I got a real G11, where the hell am I going to get ammo for it? So yeah, like, probably like an airsoft G11, that would be pretty cool.
Sure.
Just because I will never be able to actually get one. Or like the pulse rifle from Dead Space, that would be pretty cool. Like, just a model of that.
Sure. I can't think of a model of something that I'd want to have, mostly because I'm a minimalist, so having more stuff is usually not something I endeavor to want. But yeah, maybe a model of an airplane or a train would be pretty cool. Just put it on the shelf. It's kind of a boring answer, but I don't really know what else to say.
Yeah. Zach, considering your point of view as a firearms enthusiast and small arms repair veteran, what would you make the design criteria for a new ideal service rifle if you were in charge of a design competition? We're pretending the XM5, XM7 doesn't exist.
Why? Is that already perfect?
No, it's because it sucks.
It has to be able to reliably put bullets down range at a very fast velocity. That's criteria numero uno.
So if I'm gonna do like a realistic answer to that, it basically is just an improved AR-15.
Yeah.
Like, I probably would just be like, no, we're just adopting the M27 that the Marines are using. We're just adopting those. Everyone gets M27s now because, like, I think the 416 and the SCAR 16S are basically the SCAR 16S is its own thing. The SCAR 16S is not a AR-15 derivative. It's completely different. So, like, if you want something that isn't an AR-15, then go with the SCAR 16S because that's basically been figured out at this point. But, like, the HK416, pretty much everybody is just adopting that now. If I'm going off of a realistic approach to it, then I would say we'll just adopt the 416 with maybe some minor changes to it, like a more streamlined M-LOK style handguard as opposed to a full Picatinny rail handguard. Don't get me wrong, I am big caveman. I love full Picatinny rail, but like that's a lot of weight that you don't necessarily need. It is slightly modular in that you can change out the handguards on it, so I would still probably go with the 416 series. If we're going with I have to we're designing a gun from scratch, like from the ground up, we're adopting an entirely new weapon system.
It has to do everything that firearm does and look exactly like that firearm, but it's a new one.
No, if we're designing something from the ground up or from scratch, we're designing an entirely new weapon system. I feel like for ease of manufacturing, instead of doing a aluminum forged receiver, we can do an aluminum extruded receiver that then the parts are inserted into and bolted into place. There are a lot of guns now that are using aluminum extruded receivers, which is actually a really interesting idea because that does save on machining time. It means you don't have to cast all of these different things out and then machine them out. You just have the receiver is just one thing. So an aluminum extruded receiver, probably like a polymer lower receiver. I'm just thinking of a SCAR 16 now. I'm just thinking of like the SCAR 16 or like one of the B&T APC, not APC, one of the B&T rifles. And as much as I would like to, you know what? No, I'm designing this rifle. It has to be a bullpup just to piss everyone off.
Everyone just has to use a bullpup.
Yep, it's got to be a bullpup just to piss all the bullpup haters off. And then once they actually get a hold of it and fire it, they're like, oh, actually, this is really good. But I can't admit that it's really good because I've built my entire career on hating bullpups.
I like that answer.
Bullpups are great if you're doing vehicle operations because they're small, they're compact, and you still have a 20-inch barrel. So you're still getting 3,000 feet per second out of a 5.56 cartridge. That's one of the other requirements, is it still has to be in 5.56. I know that everyone is like, oh, but the new 6.8 cartridge. Yeah, the new 6.8 cartridge is really fucking cool. That's why the DMR is in the 6.8 cartridge and the infantry rifle is in 5.56, because somewhere along the line, the U.S. Army forgot that it's really fucking cool to be able to carry 300 rounds of ammo on person, as opposed to 160 or whatever for the...
Are the new bullets substantially heavier?
They're the same size as like a 308 cartridge. So you're basically now you're stuck at like 20 round magazines. Yes, there are 30 round magazines for the new 6.8 cartridge, but most of them are going to be 20 round magazines. So now you're stuck at a 20 round magazine, which you can really only get 2 of those into a mag pouch that normally would be able to hold 3 30 round magazines.
I see.
So now you're only able to carry 40 rounds instead of 90 rounds in one mag pouch, which is kind of stupid. Anyway, I'm not gonna get on a whole fucking thing about the XM5 and the XM7 because everyone keeps talking about how it's designed to penetrate body armor. It will penetrate body armor, but the main thing it's designed for is it's designed for fighting in Afghanistan because they were like, oh, we couldn't hit these targets that were really far away with a 5.56 cartridge. So the army did the same thing that they fucking do all the time, which is design a gun for the last war they were in.
Ah, yes.
Anyway, whatever.
We went into it, but we're not going to go into it anymore.
The design criteria for my new ideal service rifle are bullpup 20-inch barrel, 5.56 cartridge, extruded aluminum receiver.
All right, that sounds like a reasonable series of requests.
Also, do something really stupid, like give it 5-round burst.
5-round burst?
Yeah, do something really dumb, like it's got, or like 2-round burst.
Give it 2.5-round burst.
It's got 2-round burst, but it has to have like a ratcheting mechanism for the 2-round burst.
Give it a 2.5-round burst. Every time you pull the trigger, you won't know if you're firing 2 or 3 bullets.
No. The 2.5-round burst is when you, it's fire on trigger release for the last one. So it's real dumb because that way you pull the trigger and it fires 2 rounds, and then when you release the trigger, it fires the next one. Yeah. So now you're in a really weird situation where you've pulled the trigger, but you don't want to shoot the gun, but there's no way to take it off to like let go of it. Anyway. Mm-hmm. Now I'm just designing it for stupid reasons.
Yeah, okay. Better move on. Zach has mentioned that he'd like the Fallout series to go beyond reusing familiar locations and fan-favorite factions like the Brotherhood of Steel or the Enclave. Based on your impressions so far, does Fallout London scratch that itch, even if it's a fan-made mod?
Yes, it does. In an upcoming episode, I actually bring that up, how I really appreciate the fact that I was able to run around and explore in a Fallout game, but I wasn't having the Brotherhood of Steel inexplicably being thrown at me,
yeah,
or the Enclave being back again for the umpteenth time.
They should have stayed destroyed at the end of Fallout 2.
I liked that Vault-Tec was basically nowhere to be seen. Yeah, I actually really appreciate that. It's fun to be able to explore a new environment that doesn't have the same reused things over and over again.
I enjoyed going to a Fallout location in the Fallout universe, but not seeing the same old, same old. So not totally different factions of varying degrees of quality and a whole bunch of new things to wear and eat and see and look at. Fallout London was just crammed full of a whole bunch of new stuff, and every time I booted up the game, I would find some new thing that was a relic of British history, something inspired by some aspect of British culture, and it was always fun to see what I could find. I really enjoyed my time in Fallout London. I'm still enjoying my time with Fallout London, honestly.
If you could have any battleship grade gun, regardless of the size, made man portable, which would you choose? I don't think you can do that.
I don't think so either. Once you made it portable, it's no longer battleship grade, so I don't...
Yeah, I don't know how you would do that, especially because a lot of so if you're talking about like World War II battleships, you've got all of these different hydraulic components and things that have to go into it, and then you've got the whole fire control system, which is separate from the gun.
What's your favorite battleship grade gun? And then we'll just imagine a fantasy version of it that's been turned into like a man portable version.
No, I would pick the Mark 38, which is a M242 Bushmaster, and the reason I picked that one is because I know how to fix those.
Oh, okay.
So it's the gun that's on it. The 242 Bushmaster is the gun that's mounted to a Bradley
because it's small arms. Yeah.
And the Mark 38 is just the Navy designation for the M242. So I would pick a Mark 38.
All right.
And I know that you got the whole meme of, oh, well, it's artillery and this is small arms, but like if you look at it from a logistics standpoint, it does make sense. The Army making sense? What? It does make sense why these things are classified the way they are. For mortars, it makes sense that mortars are classified as small arms because you can pick them up and carry them around. Artillery makes a little bit less sense, but if you think about it as the US Army has 2 towed artillery pieces, why are we going to train a specific MOS to only fix 2 towed artillery pieces?
Fair enough.
Why don't we just teach that or why don't we just teach the small arms repair MOS, because then they can also fix all of the guns that the artillery uses in adjacent to the artillery. Mm-hmm. So why don't we just teach them to do that? And then for the M242 Bushmaster, the reason that is technically small arms, I feel like maybe you could have just incorporated that into tracked vehicle repair, or you could have incorporated it into I forget what the MOS is, but there's an MOS that's like tank cannon repair.
Oh.
You could have incorporated into that, but then the problem is Bradleys are all generally part of cavalry units. They're
right.
not part of armored units, which would be tanks. So if you train someone in fixing tanks and Bradleys, that means they're never going to work on one or the other for most of their military career.
Okay.
Unless they retrain into something else. I'm broadly speaking, assuming they stay as a small arms repairman or whatever, assuming they stay that MOS for their entire career, then they're either never going to work on Bradleys or they're never going to work on tanks. So it makes sense in like a logistical standpoint of why are we training all of these individual small MOSs when we could just be having one MOS that's like, hey, this is the one that just does all of these different things because they more than likely will be put into a unit that has one of these things. So I know that's the joke of if it's small arms, then why is it so big? But like
That's a joke you've made before.
Yeah, I've made that joke before, but logistically it does make sense.
Okay.
It's just it seems stupid at its face value.
Like a lot of things, but I guess there's more reason to it than I would have given it credit for.
If there was an MOS that was literally just replacing and repairing tires, why wouldn't you just roll that MOS into wheeled vehicle repair? Why are you making one MOS that exists to do this one hyper-specific thing?
Right.
That isn't really that specialized and isn't that much different from another similar job. So I will say, though, that whenever somebody was like, oh, we need you to work on mortars, or the like 2 times that somebody was like, oh, we'd like you to come down here and help assist with artillery, I did very much turn into the meme of my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Just like I did not want to work on howitzers.
I didn't want to leave my cozy little box here.
It's not that. I just don't like working on howitzers. It's like fixing farm equipment.
Yeah.
It's just all nitrogen and hydraulic lines. It's boring. I don't like doing it.
Yeah. Fair enough. So that's the gun.
Yeah, to answer the question, it is the Mark 38. It is the Mark 38 25mm machine gun system, which is an M242 Bushmaster that the Navy has either in a remote controlled mount or there's a turret mount where you stand behind it.
Okay.
Yep.
What are each of your dream cars? Justify your answers.
I have a lot of dream. I think we answered this question like last time.
I think we answered something pretty similar to it last time. I still don't have a dream car. I think I said Geo Tracker and you said
I had a bunch of different ones. Yeah,
please consult last month's Q&A because it's a long list.
I want a Datsun 100A. Oh, justify my answer. No.
He's added more to the list since
No,
then.
the Datsun 100A is the Satsuma from my summer car, and I want one of those.
Okay.
There's a bunch of cars I want. There's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The justification is I think it's neat. That's it.
Would you ever consider making IRL content or other types of vlog style content?
I've done a couple IRL videos on my channel.
Yeah, and I've done a couple on another channel that I had for a while. Would you consider making more content of the sort?
I'm trying to work on more stuff.
It's
like
always
that.
fun to branch out, try new things. I've always got ideas for new stuff I could do, and that does include IRL content or vlog style stuff, but I haven't really done anything recently, and I don't have any immediate plans, but I've always got ideas floating around.
What are your true thoughts on Atomfall? If you'd prefer not to say, what was the getting sponsored experience like?
The getting sponsored experience was great. The company that made Atomfall, the one they had us work through, was very great at communicating. Yeah, I got nothing but pleasant things to say about them. In terms of a first sponsored experience, it was probably as good as I would have hoped for.
What are my true thoughts on Atomfall? It's fine. I don't really have any interest in continuing playing it.
No.
It's not that it's bad. It's not a bad game at all. I'm just not particularly interested in it.
Okay, fair enough.
That's it.
Yeah. I would like to play more of it, and I tried streaming a bit of it recently, but there's so many games that I want to play, and just trying to squeeze in time for Atomfall is asking a lot of me already. I do like, one of the things that I would give Atomfall credit for is that if you don't like Atomfall, you can tweak some of the settings and make it a game you like, and you're just gonna find the settings. It might take a couple hours. Last I was streaming it, I was having a frustrating time. So I turned down the difficulty, I turned down enemy detection radius, I turned on quest markers so I could make more progress and remember what I was doing since last time because I'd taken such a long break. Atomfall is an amazing game in terms of quality of life and giving you different options. It's commendable. It's amazing, actually. I wish every game had the level of customization that Atomfall gives you. I'd like to play more of it, but I don't know if I'll have time for it. But it's cool. I like it a lot, and I'm happy that other people know about it. And if you're enjoying it, excellent. I'm happy to hear that.
What is your preferred classic, early, and pre-2000s console, and why? Also, favorite game to play on said console.
Well, I grew up with the Nintendo 64, and I've got a lot of nostalgic fondness for the Nintendo 64. And also, a lot of my favorite games came out on that system. Star Fox 64 and Banjo-Kazooie are still some of my all-time favorite video games, but I also enjoyed Super Mario 64, Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing, Banjo-Tooie, and like a whole bunch of other stuff that I rented from Blockbuster back in the day. So that is definitely the system for me. Although I wouldn't want to play the console today because honestly the controllers were kind of ass. The control stick was really flimsy and made out of hard plastic and just not fun to use. I like the game still, I just don't like the controllers.
But what would your favorite game to play on it be?
Chameleon Twist 2. The sequel to everyone's favorite platformer, Chameleon Twist. No, wait, NASCAR 98. Can I change my answer? NASCAR 98. Nothing more fun than playing a racing game that consists of going in a circle for 500 laps. And the game is so crappy that there's hardly any cars around you. It's just you just racing in a circle for 500 laps. Play through an entire NASCAR race on your Nintendo 64.
I don't know what my favorite early pre-2000s console would be. I'm trying to think about it because I played... The one I probably played the most of would be like the Game Boy... when did the Game Boy Advance come out?
Oh, the Game Boy Advance probably came out after the 2000s.
Game Boy games are probably the one I played, probably the console I played the most of.
Mm-hmm. You had a Game Boy Advance, did you?
Yeah.
That was the first Game Boy I had, was the Advance, playing some Wario Land 2.
2001.
So we can't include that. Bummer.
2001 is when it existed. PlayStation 2! That came out in the year 2000.
But so it's not,
got it on a technicality. PlayStation 2.
But it said pre-2000s was
PlayStation 2 because then I can include Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3. I can include Resident Evil 2.
Mm-hmm. All games that came out after 2000. But if we're allowed to sneak in the PlayStation 2, then yeah, I'm gonna have to change my answer.
PlayStation 2 came out in the year 2000, so it is pre-2000s.
I don't think it is.
I'm including it.
All right, PlayStation 2 is the answer. Yeah, if we're allowed to include PlayStation 2, then I have to include that. I'm sorry, N64, as much as I love you, I spent so much time with my PlayStation 2, and I had so many games for that. Yeah, PlayStation 2. What's your favorite game for PlayStation 2?
Probably Resident Evil 2.
That's a PlayStation 1 game.
There are so many games that came out on PlayStation 2. Like, so many good games that came out on PlayStation 2. But...
Right. If you're including Resident Evil 2, you could just say your favorite console is the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, but then I can also include Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3 and Eco.
Pick a favorite.
No, I can't.
You can't do it.
No, can't do it.
Ratchet & Clank 3 Up Your Arsenal. I spent so much time with that. It was my first foray into online gaming. I played that on a tiny little, 12-inch screen in the barracks, and I was in job training. So, a lot of fond memories of Up Your Arsenal. Great game. How do you decide which mods to play through? Is there a process? How often do you have to rebuild New Vegas from a clean install? For the three main series that we have, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, and Skyrim, Fallout New Vegas is the most stable. I have never had to do a clean install, and even when I transitioned from one computer to the next, everything carried over smoothly. We're still on the exact same save file we've had since 2015. It's great. Fallout New Vegas is the best. Fallout 4 was a bit rougher. I had to kind of do like a retrofitting when I moved from one computer to the next. So Fallout 4 gave us a bit more problems. And then Skyrim, yeah, we've had to do like a clean install of that. Honestly, like half a dozen times. Because for various reasons. Like the first time was because Bethesda released an update for Skyrim that broke everything. And then, after I got it fixed, 2 weeks later, they did another update that broke everything again. And of course, when we swapped from one computer to the next, things didn't follow us. That was around episode 40, so I had to rebuild basically the entire save file and kind of speed through it to get where we were. Skyrim has given us a lot of problems. And part of that is because of my modding habits, because Fallout New Vegas is so flexible. I was hoping Skyrim would be the same, but Skyrim, once you've installed a mod for Skyrim, it kind of becomes a load-bearing mod, and you.
See, I refuse to believe that. I don't think that's true.
It was the case years ago, and now it is definitely the case, because now if you install a mod and then Skyrim can't find the mod when it tries to load the save file, it just won't load the save file. So now you have to have that mod. Yeah, Skyrim is giving us so much problems compared to Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4, but New Vegas is fine. As for deciding which mods to play through, I mean, I do have a list of mods that I want to get through, especially with Fallout New Vegas. Sometimes I rank them in terms of how much I think the community would like them, or how much I think they'd be really great to show on the channel. Sometimes Zach will let me know about a mod he's interested in playing, so I'll get that set up and we'll play through that one. So there's no real process. I do have a list of Fallout New Vegas mods and Fallout 4 mods and Skyrim mods that I want to get through, and sometimes I rank them by priority, but not really a process, just whatever we feel like doing. What are your recommendations for a first gun?
That's an incredibly difficult question.
So we're just gonna throw out one random gun.
No, it's the reason that's an incredibly difficult question is because what are you trying to use it for? What type of gun do you want to get? What state do you live in? And like I don't know what guns are available in what states. Generally the answer I give to that question is Glock 19. Because you can basically get one in, I'm pretty sure, every single state in the United States, and it's just a good first handgun. But if you absolutely hate Glock 19s, or you just hate Glocks in general, then Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 is another really, really good option. H&K VP9 is another really good option. Yeah, but I don't know if you want a rifle, shotgun, what caliber you're looking for. So Glock 19, but yeah, if you hate Glock 19s, then Smith & Wesson 2.0.
Okay, there you go.
Yep, that's just generally my go-to. That covers most bases.
All right.
What is the best April Fool's Day prank that has ever been done to you? And what is the best April Fool's Day prank you've ever done to someone else? I don't like April Fool's Day pranks.
No,
I'm not really a fan of them.
No. I like how most modern April Fool's Day celebrations are just making content that's outside of your norm. It's always fun to see someone upload something completely off the wall, completely different, just to try out new experimental things, because it's an excuse. It's not my usual content. I'm just doing this for April Fool's Day.
I know that when newspaper comics were more of a thing, there was is it Pearls Before Swine? He did a Garfield comic or something, and then Garfield did or Jim Davis did did a comic for somebody else.
Yeah, that was great on April Fool's Day. It wasn't even just those two strips. It was like it felt like every comic strip in the comics page they would collaborate with each other, and they would just kind of trade their spot and try and draw a comic for each other in their own styles. It was fun.
I think those were really fun. You probably have seen it, the like April Fool's Day math teacher video where he said there was something going wrong with his projector, and then he appears on the projector screen to fix it. I'm sure everybody has seen it. It's got 140 million views. So statistically, you've probably seen that video.
I don't think I have. I'll have to check that out later.
I think that one's pretty good. I like that one. But yeah, I don't really like April Fool's Day jokes very much, because I feel like most of the time they're just kind of mean-spirited.
Yeah. I've got two April Fool's Day pranks that I always remember that I did when I was a kid. One is that I tied my parents' doorknob to the doorknob across the hallway using some dental floss. So they tried to open the door when they woke up, and the door wouldn't open. It was tied to the other door. That made her upset. But my favorite was I went to the sink.
Understandably so. I'd be pissed off too if I tried to get out of the fucking bed. I haven't even had my coffee yet, and my dumbass kids have tied the fucking doorknobs together. I would be like, well, I guess we're going from 3 kids to 2 today.
That's nothing compared to my other one that I actually do kind of like, even though it's even more of a jerk thing to do, is, that sprayer at the sink for spraying dishes? Everyone's got it, yeah.
Well, not everyone, but yes, I know what you mean.
So what I did is I used some Scotch tape to tape down the handle, so the moment you turned on the sink, instead of it coming down out of the spout, it shot out of the nozzle at the person using the sink.
Yes. I think you've mentioned this one before.
It's a totally harmless prank, but man, was she pissed.
Understandably so. I would be very mad. I have a vague memory of when I was in first grade on April Fool's Day. I put a plastic lobster on my teacher's chair. She had left, And I put the plastic lobster on the chair and pushed the chair in. So when she came back and pulled the chair out, she saw that was there and just like, she screamed and went, "Oh my God," and like ran away.
Yeah.
And I actually felt real, even in first grade, I was like, "Oh, I feel bad now." I felt bad about that because I didn't mean to actually like scare her that badly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's a first grade teacher. It's kind of fucking hard enough already.
Yeah, we could. It's pretty easy to remember some of our favorite pranks that we've done to other people, but it's hard to think of fun pranks that we liked having done to us because they're pranks. They're usually not well done or fun.
Yeah. What was your favorite modded companion in Fallout New Vegas? Mine was the intelligent and well-spoken Bad Motherfucker.
It's a good choice.
Bad Motherfucker's definitely up there. Buddy Chicken.
Yeah.
Buddy Chicken is very... Buddy Chicken is probably my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I like Buddy Chicken, even though he doesn't really do much of anything.
He brings you joy, and that's good enough.
He just kind of scoots around and he makes fun beeping sounds. So, yeah, Buddy Chicken.
Yeah, and my go-to answer is usually Willow and or Hope. I like companions that are well-developed and have a lot of commentary on the various locations you go to. They're not too obnoxious. Like some of the Fallout 4 companions just never shut up, but Fallout New Vegas companions are generally more reserved, and they have the ability to have longer conversations if you talk to them. Willow and Hope both have great quest lines. They're great. Those are the ones I go for.
Not so much a question, okay, but please bear with me. In the Fallout London episode, Looking for Lazarus, you found a plant called cheeseweed, and Zach expressed disbelief that it is real. I assure you it is 100% real, but the reason you probably never heard of it is because it grows almost everywhere but North America and Oceania.
Okay. No.
That sounds like a myth propagated by Big Cheeseweed to make us think that Big Cheeseweed it actually exists.
Yeah, I didn't doubt that cheeseweed is a real thing because every day you learn about some new species of animal or plant that seems completely alien. This world is full of creatures that you can have a hard time wrapping your head around. Cheeseweed, yeah, I don't doubt that cheeseweed exists.
Yeah.
Probably smells like pungent cheddar.
You find out about a plant that you think can't possibly exist, like rapeseed.
Yes. Is that the name of a plant? I thought it was just like the name of like a mustard.
It's the name of a type of seed.
Oh.
God forbid it comes from the rape plant.
Is that the name of the plant?
I don't know. Have either of you had any teaching or mentoring experience? If yes, any interesting stories about that? Yeah, I taught small arms repair for a year.
Well, I thought it was many years, but I guess it was only 1 year in Virginia, huh?
Yeah, it was really only like 1 year.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So yes, you do.
Yes, I do. I've talked about it several times.
And like many people who teach, it was a great experience where you were underappreciated and you ended up living in your car.
It was rewarding and also stressful. I kind of miss teaching the Bushmaster class. That was fun.
It was a good excuse to fondle weapons all day.
I didn't like teaching the howitzer course. Howitzer course is boring.
Yeah.
That made me so frustrated that it was just like, yay, I'm going to get to go teach small arms repair. I'm going to get to teach people how to fix my favorite machine gun ever, the M240 Bravo. All right, we'll go fix howitzers now. I've never even worked on a 777. Why are you making me teach this class? Literally, I had never worked on a 777 before. When I went there to teach small arms repair, that was the first time I saw an M777 howitzer. And they're like, okay, well, you're going to teach the class on this. Great!
So like many teachers, you have to go home and study what you have to teach.
Great! Wonderful. I get to teach on a thing that I literally have no first-hand experience with. Unlike the 240 Bravo that I have a bunch of first-hand experience with, or the M4 that I have a bunch of first-hand experience with, or the M9 pistol that I have a bunch of first-hand experience with.
It's a shame.
No, I get to teach this stupid fucking piece of shit howitzer.
Yeah.
Yay!
Would you rather teach on it or repair it? Both miserable experiences.
They're the same thing because like you have to disassemble it to teach it.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
So,
if you were a Pokemon trainer, which Pokemon would you want to have on your team?
I'm not familiar with a ton of them. I know the Gen 1 Pokemon. I think Claydol is neat. I like Go-Goat.
How about that Cramorant that eats Pikachus?
No, he's Cramorant. That's his name.
Cramorant.
Cramorant. Yeah, they barely changed it. It's like the joke of Cheramon. He's a chair. It's the chair Pokemon. Cheramon.
My favorite Pokemon are Muck and Seal.
What would I have on my team? I like Claydol because I think he's fun. I think he looks neat.
Would your team have like a theme, or would you go for like they're just the 6 that I like?
It's probably just the 6 that I like.
There you go.
Yeah, there wouldn't really be a theme to it. I like Claydol because he looks like that jar that looks like an alien, and then he just shoots laser beams, which is cool.
There's Brock, he's the rock type gym leader, and there's Misty, she's the water type leader, and there's Zach, he's the whatever I feel like gym leader.
So we have on his team we have Claydol, we have a Charizard, we have a Pikachu, but he's been given a handgun. Pika just starts shooting a Mark 23 SOCOM. You can't just give the Pikachu a gun. It's okay. It's loaded with rubber bullets, I think.
Pikachu gets all the
Pikachu, give me the gun. Pikachu just points at me. Okay, I shouldn't have given the Pikachu a gun. This was a mistake. I'd probably put Pikachu on the team because I like Pikachu. I think Pikachu's cute.
You're gonna put Charizard on your team too?
Yeah, he's a big dragon.
Wow,
he's cool.
daring today. Thinking outside the box, going for a Charizard.
I do like the what is it, Talonflame? Is that the, the bird that's on fire?
Yeah.
That apparently was just absolutely broken in tournament play. So like everybody had like their team was just like 6 Talonflames. Mm-hmm. I know nothing about Pokemon tournament play other than like that one thing. What would be on your team?
It would be a team of mostly fire monsters, so I'd also probably have a Charizard, a Typhlosion. There's a more modern one called Pyroar. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one. It's the lion that's on fire.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Pyroar, if there's one thing I like about the various Pokemon, I like fire types, and I like sexual dimorphism. So when the males and the females look completely different. So the fire lion, the female just looks like a lioness, but with like a fire like top mohawk kind of thing, like a little bit of fire just trailing off her head. And then the male Pyroar has a giant mane out of fire, but it's in like the 5 spokes, so it looks like the fire kanji, the kanji for fire in Japanese. It looks really cool. I think Pyroar is probably my favorite of the more modern Pokemon. But yeah, it's Charizard, Typhlosion, Pyroar, maybe Magmortar. It's a fire duck. A lot of people like to hate on him because he looks kind of dumb, but that's just how some of them look. And then just to throw a wrench at whoever's coming at me, think I'm only going to use fire monsters, I'd have that small blue water duck that's got the inner tube. And then to add on to that, the other small blue duck with the pompadour.
Oh my god, what is it? Oh, I would probably add a Farfetch'd to it just because I like that he uses an onion as a sword.
Ah, there you go. Would you get the new evolved version of Farfetch'd? Surfetch, which is a fighting type that has like a giant spear instead of a...
No, I like Farfetch'd better.
Okay.
Did you guys watch the Nintendo 2 Direct? I did. Did you guys see Kirby Air Riders? And there's a lot of question marks and exclamation points. They're very excited about it.
It could have combined those, made an Interrobang here and there.
I am also excited about that. It is an Interrobang.
No, Interrobang is when the question mark and the exclamation mark are on top of each other.
I thought it was just the same. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Did you guys see Kirby Air Riders? I did see Kirby Air Riders, and I'm very excited for it. I'm curious about your reactions, feelings about the new Nintendo console. Also, have you ever played Metroid? I'm conflicted about the new Nintendo console because I want to get one because I want to play the new Mario Kart. That looks really fun.
Really? I'm surprised that Mario Kart is considered to be a system seller because like we all have played Mario Kart. There are a lot of other Mario Karts. Get the new console for the new Mario Kart. You could, I guess, yeah, but you could just play the other Mario Karts. Like, I don't understand how this is a system seller.
Because it's got like you can drive around. It's like Forza Horizon, but it's Mario Kart.
I guess.
Also, there's a cow. You can play as a cow.
Is there a playable cow now?
You can drive a cart as a cow. They have there's a cart in there that looks like, because they added motorcycles in Mario Kart 8.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Some of these games have their gimmicks, yeah.
There's a cart that they added to the new Mario Kart that looks like a Honda Motocompo, only it's a boombox. Which, like, the Honda Motocompo already kind of looks like a boombox, so it's anyway.
It really just feels like Malibu Stacy got a new hat when it comes to these Mario Kart games. Like, it's like a fresh coat of paint. Like, I could see, like, being excited about Super Smash Brothers because there's always, like, new rosters and stuff like that.
Have they announced a new Super Smash Brothers?
No, I'm just saying, like, I can understand why people got excited about these new Super Smash Brothers games, but Mario Kart is just more Mario racing.
I am interested in the new Mario console. I always really liked Nintendo games because they're always enjoyable. I am not excited about how much it fucking costs.
Yeah, a lot of people have negative opinions.
Well, it makes me really mad that the new Mario Kart is going to be $90. It's really infuriating. I don't understand where that price comes from. It doesn't make any sense. And I do really think that all that's going to do is just incentivize other companies to be like, oh, our game's $90 now. The base version of our game is $90. Pay up, fucker. You know you're gonna.
Hey, if they can squeeze that money out of people, they're gonna do it. Corporations are
Nintendo,
greedy.
I'm excited about the new Nintendo console. I'm excited about some of the new games that are coming out. I'm excited they're making a new Kirby Air Riders. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah?
I'm very excited for that because I loved playing Kirby Air Riders.
I never really got into it myself, but my brothers really liked Kirby Air Riders a lot.
I really liked playing Kirby Air Riders, so I'm very excited that they're making a new one. But Nintendo is an incredibly greedy company, and I'm gonna buy one because like I want to play it if I can fucking get one. It's also very frustrating to me that none of these companies have or want to figure out how to fix their pre-ordering.
Fix their pre-ordering?
Yeah, because they opened pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2, and they were sold out literally, like basically nobody could pre-order them.
Right, yeah.
They all got snatched up by scalpers immediately. And part of the reason that Nintendo isn't going to fix this is because Japan has a really big lottery culture of, you want the thing, you better enter the lottery for it.
I didn't know that.
They like doing luck-based things. And it's like, it's that way for a lot of stuff in Japan. Basically, anyone that is not from Japan that goes to Japan is like, what the fuck is with all this lottery shit? I just want to go to this hot springs. Well, you got to enter the lottery to get a ticket for it.
You know, that explains a lot of what I've seen in anime. I guess there was a lot more luck-based things.
They really like doing lotteries for things, which on one hand does keep it fair. It means that it's less likely that scalpers are going to get it. But on the other hand, I want to buy the fucking console. I have the money. Give me the console. So that is incredibly frustrating. It's also really stupid that they made a game for the new Nintendo Switch that's like a little museum that's like, this is how the new Nintendo Switch works. Look, here's how this little thing plugs into this thing. And here, it's like it's a fun little tech demo that they're charging $10 for. And it's just like, why isn't that free with a console? Yeah. Make it free with the console. I'm when it comes to Nintendo games, I'm constantly torn between like my opinion of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, of this game is so cute and sweet and fun and wholesome and I love it. I love everything about this game, but also it's on a Nintendo console, which Nintendo is like one of the worst fucking companies ever.
Pretty bad, yeah.
So I'm excited about the new Nintendo console. I have positive feelings about it. I don't know when or if I will be able to get one. And I wish the games didn't cost so much money.
Fair enough.
Because like basically whenever I buy Nintendo games, I always buy them as physical copies. Because it's not like they go down in value. Oh, and the other added thing of the new Nintendo games of this new proprietary technology they're using where the game cartridge is basically just a key that unlocks a download.
That's like the official thing for Nintendo Switch 2?
Not for all of them. No, some of them do that. The mainline Nintendo games, as of now, are going to be, you get an actual physical copy of the game. But some of the, second party games, the cartridge is just basically a thing that tells your Nintendo Switch 2 that it can download the game.
That's their way of transitioning into the digital marketplace.
Yeah, because that is a thing that they started doing, it is literally only a matter of time before Nintendo just goes, nah, you don't actually own the game anymore.
Yeah.
You don't own the game. Which, to be fair, they have always thought that. They have always thought you don't actually own the game. So
anything they can do to keep the prices up, they're probably so pissed when people buy used copies of their games. That way they can't get the $60 they charge full price for.
Yeah.
As for myself, I did watch the Nintendo 2 Direct. I didn't really see anything in there that hooked me. Nothing really grabbed me. I didn't really care all that much. If you liked some of the stuff that was shown, cool. I mean, Patapon looked like it might.
Oh my god, yeah, the fact that they're bringing fucking Patapon back.
Yeah, that seems cool.
That blew my mind.
I don't know if anyone still knows about Patapon. It was like a PSP exclusive, it feels like.
Yeah. And it was like, I just kept wanting them to make Patapon games on the PlayStation or something. And like, the only way you could play them was on the PSP or on the PS Vita, which nobody has those fucking things anymore.
Right.
I'm kind of amazed that those came back. I was really excited about the new FromSoft game, which is Duskbloods, I think, until I found out that it was PvP, and then now I don't care anymore. I'm not going to play it.
Yeah.
I was really excited about that, and then it's like, oh, by the way, it's all like PvP, VE, and I'm just like...
What a crotch shot.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. Have you ever played Metroid? Yes. I've played several Metroid games. I'm trying to remember what the first. Well, I mean, I played the first Metroid game, Metroid. I played that one. I've played a bunch of Metroid games. Yes.
I've not. I've played Metroidvania style games, but it's not really my genre. I generally don't much care for it. And I've never played any of the Metroid games, and I have no inclination to. It's not on my list of things to do. I've got a long list of games to play. Metroid isn't on there. My general feelings for Nintendo consoles, or just consoles in general, are I don't get excited about consoles. Like, I don't care about consoles at all. Even if it's got some crazy new tech, that I generally do not care. You have to have a console, like a system seller, for me to actually care. I played a lot of the PlayStation 3, but I didn't buy one until Metal Gear Solid 4 was exclusively available on PlayStation 3. And then I played a lot of PlayStation 3, but I needed a game to make me want to buy the system. Because it's a huge investment. It's hundreds of dollars. You know it's going to be obsolete in a couple years. Other games might not carry over. They might not be backward compatible with the next system. And if it's a Nintendo console, then the games never go down in price because it's just always expensive. So you have to have a system seller. And for me, the PlayStation 3 had Metal Gear Solid 4. I did eventually get a Switch, I think, to play the new Fire Emblem game. So far nothing has hooked me for the Switch 2. I don't care. I'm very happy to not be spending hundreds of dollars on a new system, and also knowing that the games might be $80 to $90. I'm glad I'm dodging that financial bullet. Yeah, they have to convince me to want the Switch 2, and right now I don't really care at all. I just wait until you get the Switch 2 and you're done with your PlayStation 5, and I'll buy it for a discount maybe.
No, I'm not getting rid of my PlayStation 5. I'm still keeping that.
You gotta have your Bloodborne machine.
Yep.
I will say, I'm glad that Nintendo learned how to name their consoles in a way that won't crash their business. They learned from the Wii U to just call it the Switch 2. Congratulations.
I hope that when the PlayStation 6 comes out, it looks more like the older PlayStations. Because I liked how every PlayStation... Well, okay, so the PlayStation 1 was kind of round.
It's a little gray box.
Well, okay, no, it was a gray box, and then they went to like a rounded version of it.
Yeah.
So the PlayStation 1 was like a gray box. PlayStation 2 was like a black box. Mm-hmm. PlayStation 3 was...
It was a black box, but it was a little sleek. You couldn't stack things on top of it.
Yeah, a little sleek. PlayStation 4 went back to being a box. PlayStation 5, I don't know what this weird fucking obelisk thing they made was. It's so weird looking. It doesn't fit anywhere either. It doesn't fit anywhere. It sits on the floor underneath my computer desk because it doesn't fucking fit anywhere. I can't put it anywhere.
Yeah, it's weird looking. It's like it's wearing a jacket.
I don't like how it looks. Just make it look like a previous PlayStation. Mm-hmm. Old man yelling at clouds. Fucking scalpers screwed me out of the 30th anniversary PlayStation controller too. I just wanted the fucking controller that looks like a PlayStation 1 controller. That's all I wanted, was to buy the controller that looks like a PlayStation 1 controller. But now you could only fucking get them if you had the world's fastest internet and you were literally 5 feet away from the fucking router that they were using to upload the information saying that the controllers were for sale. And now they're $184.
God.
Fuck you. Fuck you, scalpers, and fuck you, Sony, for not actually, doing a decent way of selling these controllers, you stupid fucking idiots.
Yeah. So, hopefully, Switch 2 is good.
Hopefully the Switch 2 is good, yeah. I want to play the new Mario Kart game, it looks fun.
Mm-hmm. I don't regret moving over to PC, though. Back when the PlayStation 4, Xbox One era started, I'm happy that I moved over to PC, and I don't have to worry about having to upgrade. Whenever a new system comes out, don't have to worry about things being backward compatible, because it's all backward compatible. Don't have to worry about the reseller market and things like that, and having to pay to play online, the thing that Xbox spearheaded and then everyone else wanted to do too.
I initially moved from console gaming to PC because I'd never really had room for a PC the entire time I was in the military. They used to be so much fucking bigger. Yeah. PCs have gotten so small. I didn't have room to store all that crap. I also didn't have the inclination to build a PC or whatever, or buy one. So initially why I moved over from PC to console was because I was sick of, I would go to play a game and it's the game crashes, or you have to update shit, or you got to update shit again, and then it's still not updated. I got tired of doing that, and I was like, I like that you can just put the disc in and play the game. And you can't do that anymore.
No, you can't.
So it's it's just frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, whatever. I watched Zach's SHOT Show video and ended up buying a pair of the Loa Zephyr Mark II boots. They are fantastic and comfortable. Nice grippy tread as well. Yes, they are. Do you have any other essential gear recommendations?
So someone watched your video on guns and liked that you talked about the boots.
Yeah.
They bought the boots.
I really like the Loa Zephyr Mark II boots. I think they're really good.
Well, the Loa Zephyr company should sponsor you if you're going to do that.
I mean, maybe they should. I really like their boots.
I will praise
Really,
them.
really good boots.
All right.
Do I have any other essential gear recommendations?
Yes, he does.
There's a lot of stuff that I really like. The problem is a lot of the stuff that I like is very expensive. So it's kind of hard for me to recommend stuff when it's like, yeah, I really like this flashlight. How much does it cost? $300.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. I guess like the I wouldn't call it essential, but the flashlight that I carry literally every day is the Surefire Stiletto Pro 2.
I'm sorry, the fact that you have an everyday carry flashlight.
Yeah, dude, I use this thing all the fucking time. I use this all the time.
Phone, wallet, keys, everyday carry flashlight.
Yeah, phone, wallet, keys, flashlight. I really like having this flashlight because it's got a low power mode, so I don't blind the fuck out of myself if I'm looking for I dropped something and it rolled under the couch.
Do you really need to use that though?
I probably use this flashlight at least every other day.
But why don't you use the flashlight that's built into your phone?
Because that has fucking terrible throw distance. And what if my phone is dead?
Okay.
And what if I need to hold the flashlight in my hand and beat somebody with it?
That doesn't come up nearly as often, I imagine.
Like, the flashlight on your phone is not a suitable flashlight. Do not count on the flashlight on your phone for anything.
I mean, the camera is also not a suitable camera for, like, fancy photography, but it gets the job done. Much in the same way that if you need a light, the phone has a light on it.
I never encourage people to use the light on their phone because it becomes a crutch. And then they think, oh, well, if there's a disaster, I'll just use the light on my phone. Cool, your phone's dead now.
Uh-huh.
Your phone's dead, now what are you gonna do?
Look, when you go camping, yes, bring a flashlight. You definitely keep a flashlight in your vehicle for emergencies. You don't need to have an everyday carry flashlight, though.
Yes, you do.
You don't.
Yes, you do.
Maybe you do. I've gotten by without one. I've lived my life and never been like, oh no, if only I had a really powerful flashlight, that would have solved my problem.
I promise you that if I were to give you a little tiny pocket carry flashlight, you would use it way more than you think you would.
Maybe, because maybe I'm too lazy to hit the 2 buttons on my phone to turn the phone flashlight on. I don't know if I would use any other flashlight.
Anyway, they asked me if I had any other essential
That's
gear
true.
recommendations.
I'll butt out.
Not what your opinion on me carrying a flashlight every day is. I really like carrying the Surefire Stiletto Pro 2. I think that's a really good light. It's nice and thin. It fits into the pocket well. There are other lights that are similar to it that are substantially cheaper. So if you don't necessarily want, to spend an absurd amount of money on a flashlight, which, believe me, I understand, then you could get one of those. I think Olight makes one. I think Streamlight makes I think it's called like the Wedge or something. They make one that's kind of similar. For like a little pocket knife. So I for like a knife, I carry, I think it was like 3 years ago when we did like a best of at the end of the year. I mentioned like the Spyderco, the Spyderco Shaman, which again, I don't necessarily want to recommend that to everyone because like this is way more than most people need and it's expensive. So for like a pocket knife, the Leatherman Free T4, I think is really, really good. They're under $100 and it's got a knife, a nail file, like 3 different types of screwdrivers. It's basically like a little Swiss Army knife, but it's made by Leatherman. The reason I recommend Leatherman is because basically if anything breaks on it, you can send it back to Leatherman and they'll fix it. And if you have to pay, the only thing you have to pay for is shipping.
Nice.
There are a couple companies that I always recommend that you go through because they have like no questions asked lifetime warranties. Pelican is another company that like all of their stuff is very expensive, but Pelican cases, if you destroy something on a Pelican case, they're all designed to basically be user serviceable, so you can like undo a couple screws and replace it yourself. They'll send you free replacements. In the event that it is so fucking damaged that it cannot be repaired, they'll basically be like, all right, we'll send you a new one, but you have to send us photos that you drilled a bunch of holes in it.
Oh, okay.
So that you're not like just trying to resell it.
I see.
It's basically like, it's so damaged that it doesn't work anymore. All right, prove to us that it's absolutely damaged and we'll send you another one for free.
Okay.
Like, I highly recommend Pelican for their cases. That's why in the SHOT Show video, I got Pelican luggage that they just came out with. It's a little carry-on luggage thing, and it's like $500. But for that $500, if anything breaks on it, I can email Pelican, and they'll basically go, okay, here's the replacement parts.
Nice.
So it's like, yeah, you're paying a really high upfront cost, but that thing is going to be almost indestructible, and if it gets to the point where it's so damaged it doesn't work anymore, they will send me a new one or an equivalent replacement, which I really like. So
Very nice.
yeah, I guess for like essential gear recommendations, just like the Leatherman free pocket knife, I think is a really good essential gear recommendation, and just like having a flashlight is a really good idea.
I still don't feel the need for have a personal flashlight, but I will say that I have taken to carrying my multi-tool because it is very handy to have a type of knife on you. I've used it more often than I think I would.
You should get the Leatherman free T4.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, just because it's real. I have it. Hang on.
Well, you gonna give me yours?
No. I could. I'm not going to, but I could. No, the reason I recommend the Leatherman free T4.
Oh, he's gotten up.
I carry it around with me. It's in my bag. Is because it's the size of a larger. It's because it's the size of a larger pocket knife. Mm-hmm. So it has a little tiny knife in it. It's probably kind of gross because I don't think I've cleaned it recently. But I like it better than a Swiss Army knife. I like the screwdriver that's on it. I like the thickness of all the different tools on that. Leatherman is really good about repairing stuff if it breaks. It's got a little tiny awl and a very small screwdriver. I like the pair of scissors on the Leatherman Free better than the scissors that are on a Swiss Army knife because you don't have to unfold them.
Okay.
And also it's less bulky than a normal Gerber or Leatherman multi-tool.
Yeah, it looks nice.
So that's why I like this one.
But I just wanted to bring it up because people say phone, wallet, keys, and now these days I don't leave without my multi-tool as well. Mostly for the blade. I'm glad it's got other things if I need, for example, a screwdriver. I've never had a need for it yet, but
Look, it's got tweezers.
yours has tweezers. Mine is my multi-tool does the job for what I need it for. Scissors, the blade has come in handy.
I think I use the scissors on this multi-tool more than I use the blade on it, but that's because I have a pocket knife. So
There you go.
for like an essential gear recommendation, because I always recommend that you have some type of flashlight at your house. At the place you live, you need to have a flashlight.
Yeah, it's helpful to have that.
And the one that I recommend to basically anyone that will fucking listen, anyone that is within reaching distance that I can grab and shake them, is the Streamlight Survivor.
Yes.
The Streamlight Survivor LED. I've done a video on it. I think the Streamlight Survivor is an amazing flashlight. It's not super bright output, but it's really high candela, so it'll throw a beam very far. You can use it to generally be able to see through certain amounts of smoke. They're almost indestructible. I've used them to light up rooms more times than I can count, where you just place it on a table pointed up at the ceiling, and then the light reflecting off lights up the whole room.
Nice.
And then I think it's like $60. I think the Streamlight Survivor LED is like $60 or something. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that would be another essential gear recommendation.
Do you have any plans to do a series about the Oblivion remake, or maybe the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake? What are your thoughts on the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, Metal Gear Solid Delta?
I was apprehensive at first about the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake.
Because of Konami, and now they've not been trustworthy?
Because of Konami. What they have been doing has really impressed me. They basically were like, we're making this faithful to the original. We're not changing a bunch of stuff.
Just updating the visuals and maybe some of the gameplay elements.
Updating the visuals, some of the gameplay elements. The fact that they brought all of the original voice actors back.
Oh, they brought them. I thought they were just going to reuse the lines.
They did reuse the lines. I think they may have re-recorded a couple lines.
Probably.
But for all the marketing, they brought David Hayter to do a bunch of the marketing for it. I think they brought Lori Allen. They finally officially revealed who the woman that voiced Ava. There was a woman that voiced Ava that she voiced it under a pseudonym, and they wouldn't say who it was for the longest time. They finally revealed who that was.
Okay.
Which I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. I was apprehensive at first, but based on the Silent Hill 2 remake, and based on everything I've seen of Metal Gear Solid Delta, it looks like they're actually trying, as opposed to, no, we don't give a fuck about video games, we just want to make money off pachinko. And it makes me wonder if the pachinko market crashed for them, so that's like the reason
they're pivoting back to video games.
I don't know. I want to think that maybe Konami's leadership has changed, or they've had a change of heart, but I am
apprehensively optimistic.
Before I was just apprehensive and like I don't care. I'm not interested. Now I am cautiously optimistic.
Nice.
I am actually looking forward to it coming out and trying it. Even if only for, I hope they add a thing to the controller change where you can aim the gun you can aim with the L trigger and fire with the R trigger instead of having to do some fucking complicated bullshit and push like 6 buttons to de-equip the gun if you decided you don't want to shoot at something.
I don't think was that in Metal Gear Solid 3? I thought that was in Metal Gear Solid 2, where you had like the pressure sensitive buttons.
That was in Metal Gear Solid 2 when it wasn't on the PlayStation 2. Because in Metal Gear Solid 2, when you didn't want to fire the gun, you would just slowly release
the button, yeah.
the button. In Metal Gear Solid 3, I think it also had pressure sensitive, but again, when they released it on their consoles that didn't have pressure sensitive buttons, you had to like press the center stick to de-equip the gun.
Hopefully they update the controls a bit, yeah.
I really appreciate that they are allowing you to play it in either the current over-the-shoulder third-person game mode or with the like fixed camera angles from the original. They're still keeping that in, so you can still play it the way that it was originally designed to play.
Yeah, people might not know about this, but Metal Gear Solid 3 was already updated. The original Metal Gear Solid 3 came out as Snake Eater with fixed camera angles.
Then there was Subsistence.
And then a year later, they re-released it with... Basically, the only thing they changed is that you had more control over the camera. You could rotate the camera and stuff.
I think if you remember, they also added the Ape Escape game mode.
Yeah, there was a second disc with bonus features too.
They also added the Ape Escape game mode, which guess what's staying in Metal Gear Solid Delta?
Right, yeah.
Ape Escape.
Nice. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty positive about the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. I really enjoyed the Metal Gear Solid series. So I'm hoping that Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta is a faithful recreation of the game that I really enjoyed.
I hope so. It's been a long time since I played Metal Gear Solid 3, and I have the Master Collection, so I could just go back and play it again.
Yeah.
And I probably should. But yes, I'm actually excited about that. We don't currently have any plans to do a series about the Oblivion remake. I played some of Oblivion on stream.
That's something that we could do in the future. Not really a series, no plans for that right now, but I've already played through the entirety of the original Oblivion and the Shimmering Isles DLC.
Yep, he played it like all on stream.
I have a full series on the channel I did with ChatDog.
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah.
I played a little bit of it on stream. I thought it was fun, but it's like I don't think it's bad by any means. It isn't really grabbing me. And like I don't want to play it on stream. I don't want to play this game that so many people really, really love on stream and just be like dismissive about it while I'm playing it on stream, because it hasn't grabbed me yet. And I am planning on playing it more like kind of on my own just to see if it really grabs my attention, but it hasn't quite done that yet.
Yeah, so that's something we could do in the future is, since I've done a full series on it and you can probably play a lot of it on your own time, maybe in the future we can come back, do a video, maybe a mini series, maybe a single video just talking about the game and the remake, because the remake, from what I've seen so far, has been very impressive. They probably couldn't have remade Oblivion better if they had tried.
From what I understand, it's basically because it's just running the old the back end of the game is the old Oblivion, but it's basically the old. Because it's not the creation engine. What is it?
I don't remember exactly.
It's something. I'm just going to call it the creation engine. I know that's not what it's called. Yeah. Just bear with me. It's basically like the creation engine is running in the background, and then Unreal 5 is rendering the game. That's, from what I understand, is pretty much what's happening.
The juxtaposition of having a game that looks as good as it does, you see screenshots of it, and you think, wow, this is like Elder Scrolls 6. It looks so good. But then they also keep in the flubbed voice line that someone had for the original, where they accidentally kept that in.
Yep.
And so for the remake, they keep it in anyway.
Yeah.
They could have tried to polish it up, be as perfect as possible, but it was not their goal. It was a faithful recreation with a fresh coat of paint, and it could not have been better, I don't think.
I had never played the original Oblivion. It basically came out at a time where I just didn't play it. I wasn't really interested in playing it. So, like, I did not understand the Oblivion dialogue meme. I thought it was funny, but I didn't get it
Which
until I
one?
played just the fact that you'll have two people that'll be like, "Did you hear about the Thieves Guild? No, what happened? Bye.
Yeah.
Good day." And then they just like
Yeah.
stuff like that. There was one where I had an instance where two people was like, "Did you hear about this village? No, what happened? Everyone there was murdered. No. Bye. Bye." And it's just like, what is that? What? I realize how incredibly impressive that is, that they had completely unscripted dialogue between NPCs.
Yeah, that is crazy.
That's incredibly impressive. But then sometimes you see stuff like that and you're like, maybe the dialogue should have been scripted. Maybe we should have scripted some of the dialogue. There's some real goofy stuff in that game. I feel like you would enjoy playing that just for the fucking weird goofy shit that happens in it all the time.
Absolutely. I already did. I did a full playthrough of the original, and I look forward to playing more of the remake in the future. Just, again, long list of games got to get through. I think a lot of people consider it to be the best Elder Scrolls game because as much popularity as Skyrim might have, there are some downgrades. A lot of people like the magic creation system of Oblivion.
I like the lockpicking minigame. I think the lockpicking minigame is really cool. I like it way better than the lockpicking in Skyrim or Fallout 4.
Oh, yeah?
It's way harder, but I like it better.
Harder isn't a bad thing as long as it's not frequent.
I don't like the dialogue or the persuasion.
Yeah.
Apparently, a lot of people don't like that. I've heard. So when I was streaming it, I said something about it, and there were several people that got kind of offended that I was talking shit on it, because apparently it's once you figure out how to do it, it makes sense. But like I wasn't able to figure out how to do it, so I just did not do it and moved on.
I didn't like it. I don't like systems where you have to game the speech system. I didn't like it in Starfield either, where you have to like figure out the right combination and like your percentage chance of victory. Just let me have a conversation. Let me talk to this person and figure out what they want and try to manipulate them based on the context clues and what I know about this person and maybe some extraneous information I picked up because I was thorough in my exploration. Let me just have a normal conversation. That was a weird tangent.
No,
All right.
that's fun.
So no plans about a series, but you might see it on the channel in the future.
Regarding the red cube background footage, are the cubes moving past the camera, or are the cubes stationary and the camera is moving?
I always imagined it kind of like the end of Monsters, Inc., where they're jumping around all these doors that are flying past them on the conveyor line. So you're stationary and the cubes are moving past you, I think.
What if you are also moving? What if the camera is moving and the cubes are moving?
Yeah, that could also be the case. The cubes are definitely moving. I know that much.
Are they moving though?
I feel like it feels like you're stationary. Because there are things on screen, and the things on screen aren't moving, so you're stationary, but the cubes keep moving, so yeah, the cubes are moving and the camera's stationary. It's gotta be the case.
Are they though?
That's my theory.
A game theory. Thanks for tuning in to Video Game Theory. With I'm
that one guy who
I'm that
says
one
that
guy
one line.
who gave a copy of Undertale to the Pope. He doesn't fucking play video games. Why are you doing that?
Well, he's dead now.
It's because he gave him a copy of Undertale. No, don't keep that in.
Nope, I'm keeping it in. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Don't keep that.
If you want to support us on Patreon, you can do so by joining Bunny Chicken tier higher, or you can join us at the $1 tier. That's fine too. We appreciate all the support you give us. Have a good month, everybody. See you for the next Q&A. Bye.
Now we're gonna get a bunch of people like, Zach doesn't like Undertale?
I wish I could have played Undertale, but I had it all spoiled for me. One of these days, I'll play Deltarune. If it ever gets finished, Toby.
He makes good music.
Too busy listening to that end song for Undertale for the 100th time like the rest of us.
Slight side tangent. I remember the very brief period that I played Splatoon. Because I was like, I want to see what the Splatoon game is. This looks kind of fun. And because in the first Splatoon, you could like draw stuff. And then it would like pop up above your character's head in like a little speech bubble.
Oh.
It was nothing but Undertale fan art. I didn't know what Undertale was. This is literally the first time I've played Splatoon, and I'm just like, what are all these people? Are these all characters from this game? Why don't they look like this game?
I was expecting a bunch of penises being drawn, but what Undertale fan art instead.
It was all Undertale fan art. I'm just like, what? What?
Yeah.
And then I played like 20 minutes of Splatoon, and I was just like, wow, people take this way too fucking seriously. I'm out.
The competitive game, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go play some of this Undertale, see what that's all about.
No, I didn't play Undertale.
No. I think I would have liked playing Undertale, but I had a lot of it spoiled for me. And also, I don't like bullet hells. This is kind of what the combat is. A little bit of bullet hell there.
A little bit, yeah.